This is like such a long-winded sitting. Oh, good lord. Some bad blocking.
What does KORBAN mean to you?
What does KORBAN mean to us? Wow, we cannot go down there and film.
Complete overhaul of the story.
Only the two of them speak Malay.
Trying to manage the budget.
Ari Alexa.
Who's gonna wrangle? Remote direct for 5 days on New Zealand time from here in Singapore.
To make the numbers work, we had to take care of that footage.
I don't know, I think we're just suckers for punishment at the end of the day.
Well, I had an idea of a girl overseas and her father reconnecting to her.
We had a huddle, talked about it, and Vic came up with this concept after coming from something like Avenue 14 and all that, which was such a genre-heavy piece, right, with effects and supernatural things. It was just nice to come down to something like almost on a pure storytelling level. When Vic kind of created this our Aisha character, I was also drawn to it. I wasn't going to replicate what we did in Tina's. This was going to be a new evolution for us. We pushed to make it edgy, I think make it us, like it had our vein of storytelling. We were looking at a few countries at that time, New Zealand, Japan, Australia, Taiwan. It was really about putting our character Aisha and kind of isolating her.
We decided to pick Japan initially because it would seem most alien to her and be visually exciting as well.
We're marching towards it in 2019, and then of course, COVID hit.
Productions were halted, we couldn't do anything. The network didn't want us to continue while the pandemic was raging on.
Japan at that point was just really bad in numbers, COVID numbers, and it just looked like impossible for us to go down there and film. At some point when there was a break in the pandemic, we started looking at which other country that we had initially that we kind of worked KORBAN toward. Collectively, like New Zealand came up. We were like, yes, we could still have a lot of the original story in the New Zealand iteration. So boom, production was back on.
Initially, we wanted to go down to New Zealand still. Again, because of COVID, there was no Aisha going to anywhere. It was just Aisha in Singapore again, which was a complete overhaul of the story. We had to come up with a new concept, new scripts, new cast, new relation between Aisha and the boy that she meets.
Audrey was like, let's do a co-production because we had partners down in New Zealand.
We partnered up with Yala Media and they were really great because they came in really early, offering us a lot of solutions and suggestions to change up certain things.
We valued their inputs into script also as we were developing it, because Vic wanted to draw what she had in terms of the culture of that place and still put it in.
They could relate a bit, I think, to Aisha also, and having a future far from home.
Yeah, we could not be down there. We had to really make sure that our New Zealand producers got the concept, got the characters.
Our recce's were on Google Maps.
And then our New Zealand team will then give us actual shots. I was also going back and forth with Channel. Hayes was like, okay, how do we keep certain things? And I think when he started to see beats and then stories and the scripts, he started to feel more drawn into the story, and he contributed a lot of cool ideas. And credit to him, he actually let a lot of the things we wanted to put in play happen. I think the characters, in some sense, remained, they stayed true to heart to that, what they were supposed to be. Even Chef Tay, that we had this mentor character all along, and he still remained. Initially, what was a challenge and a crutch, we looked at it in a different way, and it became just more colorful because we had to add a lot more supporting cast, to bolster the ensemble.
I think my biggest challenge, of course, would be the change in concept. The initial Japanese iteration that we put so much time into, having to let go of the very precious chasing of my roots, and writing the new one also was a new challenge for me. I had to put myself in that mind frame. The idea of believing in something and letting go of ego and stuff was an overarching thing.
We started off with trying to secure a good cast. We had a good casting manager on board. She brought several Aishas to the table, and we found Ray, the diamond in the rough, who surprised us. For Rahim and Tanya, we had meetings with them and we talked to them about the stories and the characters. We were thrilled that they were super keen
on board. I started talking to our DP Ross, and we started talking about how we wanted to craft this look. It started to shape the characters, how they had to be. They were not going to be this conventional take. Vic, in writing it, also started to see them and voice them in a different way. We still at that point hadn't found our Chef Tay.
We were pondering whether to go with a Malay-speaking chef or someone totally left field.
Casting brought an interesting choice to the table, Mr. Tay Peng Hui, and we were like, okay, that's interesting. And
we made him do a couple of tests for us where he spoke some Malay. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
We bought it.
Tapi bukan hari ini.
we had Zoom rehearsals just to talk about characters. Just the local cast, they really maybe had to meet each other to just get a certain sense of each other, a little sense of bonding. Ping Hui, he really vibed off the other veteran actors in terms of language. And he has a real good ear, so he was picking up and he knew he was like, oh man, this is going to be a challenge. He in fact put in extra days of work like on the script, even with us coming in with our AD, Audrey and everybody, and they were like just looking at the script, and he just wanted to get, he really wanted to get the lines right. And you know, that was like a testament to, I think, the cast. Ray and Evander could only meet via Zoom also, but on that Zoom they really hit it off. All that prep is what made us, I think, be able to shoot the way we did and to get the content that we did. But we had one overbearing challenge because, you know, it's times of COVID and we had regulations here in Singapore and we did not have our restaurant.
I eat 7-Eleven food. I'm not the best at cuisine. I think finding a restaurant and finding a place where it's at a certain standard that Aisha can really sink into her world was very important.
We could not settle for a cafe kind of concept. We had to find like this Michelin type kind of places, you know, we had to put the word out.
I wrote into like so many places. Most of them were like, no, we can't do this, we can't give you the time, blah, 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 this and that. But thankfully, we got to know of Alma through actually Nora Lisa. I reached out to them and the rest was history.